The Ryanair conflict was a conflict between the Irish low-cost airline Ryanair and the Danish trade unions. In March 2015, Ryanair began operating out of Copenhagen Airport and was met with a bunch of criticism from both Danish politicians and the Danish trade unions, because the Danish trade unions didn't think that Ryanair's pilots and flight attendants were working under acceptable conditions, and therefore they wanted the airline to sign an agreement which would ensure that their employees had to work under Danish conditions. And Ryanair was then accused of social dumping, which is a term that is used to describe the unfair competition between countries with different wages and different levels of social protection. The Danish trade unions are misinformed about Ryanair's working conditions, and they don't consider the fact that Ryanair's pilots and cabin personnel have high salaries, job security, and that they already have a collective agreement with Ryanair, which is exactly what the trade unions want them to have. So we don't cooperate with trade unions, but instead we work directly with our employees. And if our employees weren't satisfied with their jobs and their conditions and the conditions that we offer them, they would probably leave our company. And the Danish trade unions have even admitted that they don't have any members in Ryanair. However, they still choose to go ahead and destroy high-paying jobs for Danish pilots and cabin crew. Those jobs will now be exported overseas, but the flights to and from Copenhagen Airport will continue. The Danish government would make money off of the high-paying jobs that we're offering the Danes in our company. They would get money from the taxes that people have to pay here in Denmark, and then they would have more money in their budget. The people of Denmark must realize that the Danish economy and the Danish trade unions cannot succeed by forcing the Danish working conditions on non-Danish companies. And why is Ryanair the only non-union company that the Danes have attacked and forced out of the country? Companies such as Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and many other non-union companies in Denmark should also be forced to close and relocate because their employees, like Ryanair, doesn't recognize the Danish unions.
By not agreeing with the trade unions, Ryanair workers will go on with working standards way under the Danish norm. The Ryanair workers does not get maternity leave, sick leave, need to be paid for their own uniforms, and they never know how much they will earn per month. This is because they have they don't have a schedule at all. So it's like the company can call their employees the same day as they need to fly a plane or be a stewardess or anything. So they don't have a monthly or half-yearly schedule or anything. So they don't know how much they can expect to earn. And it can go from at the lowest at 2,000 kroners per month and up to a normal salary like the average Dane. And Ryanair workers is paid amount 15% less than others who do the entirely same job just for another company. A trade union agreement would make the work process for the Ryanair employees much more secure. In other words, it would mean a more safe way to live their working life. And also they would be able to negotiate their salary on behalf of an entire wing, like all the stewardesses, and not just themselves. To conclude on this Ryanair trade union conflict, you can say that it's been an extremely important one because it has of course gotten so much attention in the media, both in Denmark and internationally, like in Ireland where Ryanair is from, and the UK. And it's mostly because it's not just a case about the company, but the people in it. It's about the individual worker and their rights. So because we in Denmark have all these unions and standards that normally needs to be met for workers, then a case like this gets such a large amount of attention. And for the future, the chance of a case like this happening is quite small. Because by making this so accessible to the public, like everyone can go in and read what Ryanair thinks and what the trade unions thinks and what will happen, and and therefore everyone has heard about it somehow. So if a new company would come to Denmark, who wants to have a base in Copenhagen, they will know beforehand how a case like this has been treated beforehand. New foreign companies would maybe think twice about it when having a Danish installment of their company. And of course, because this newfound focus on the working conditions and standards of Danes, it can also maybe lead to new laws about trade unions or the standards that needs to be met when it comes to working on Danish ground. And this could possibly make the average Danish worker much more equal when working in the Danish-based companies.